Hey there, thanks for joining us today for this January week 1 devotional that we have prepared for you today. Now, we're going to be talking about goals. It's a new year, 2022. Hooray, you made it through 2020 and 2021. But one of the things that we're all so accustomed to do is set goals for the new year. We call them resolutions, but it's really just setting goals that we want to apply to our lives. Now, one thing that I wanted to start off by saying is in Psalms 127:1, it says, "Unless the Lord builds the house, the builders labor in vain. Unless the Lord watches over the city, the guards stand watch in vain." First things first, if you're going to be putting in some goals for this year, for your life, pray about it and say, God, what goals should I put in my life? What do you have in plan for me? What callings are upon my life, upon my family? What does the future hold in your plans for my household, for my relationships, for my future relationships, etc., and asking God to direct your steps there. Now, one of the first things you need to consider is that the goals that you set have to be motivating. You have to be lit about these goals that you set. Why? Because the motivation in these goals, the reason why you are setting these goals is super important. Understand why you are setting these goals. Understand why is it that you want to lose weight? Why is it that you want to build these savings accounts? Why is it that you want to build this relationship? Why is it that you want to learn this instrument, etc.? Try to understand why, because the why is what's going to push you even when it gets tough, even when it gets hard. We've all been on that boat where we're trying to learn something new or we're trying to accomplish something and it just gets a bit difficult. We're trying something new and it's like we hit a wall or it gets really hard. When you remind yourself of the why, when you tell God, show me, remind me, why am I here? Why am I doing this? Why am I pursuing this? When your why is there, that is just the spark that you need to push through what it is that you are trying to accomplish. Now, one thing to consider is this rule it's called the SMART goals rule. And there are many variations of this SMART, but this one here, I feel like it's pretty cool. I got it off of mindtools.com. Shout out to them really quick here. It was off of an article that I read. And SMART goals, so the word SMART stands for a few things here. The S stands for specific. So in other words, make sure that your goals are specific. Don't just make it a broad goal. Don't just say, this year, 2022, I'm going to learn an instrument. Okay, but what instrument? Be specific here. And then you say, okay, well, I'm going to learn the piano. And be specific with the goal that you want to set. Don't be so vague. Next thing is a measurable goal. Make sure that the goal that you have is something that you can measure. Make sure there is an amount. There is a date. There is a quantity. There's something that you can quantify in this goal so that you can actually keep track of your progress. If you can't sense the progress in your goal setting, then you're not going to be motivated. You're not going to be able to say, hey, I'm getting somewhere. I'm going somewhere. I'm learning. I'm doing this. Make sure it's something that you can measure. Now, the A stands for an attainable goal. Make sure that the goal that you're setting is something that you can attain. Make sure that it's something that's possible. Don't say, okay, this year I'm going to make sure that I go to Israel. Okay, but you do realize that's like $4,000. Like, are you able to save that amount of money? I'm not saying that you can't, but make sure it's something reasonable. Talk to your spouse. Talk to your pastor, talk to your leader, really kind of evaluate and make sure that it's something that is attainable for your life. The R stands for a relevant goal. Goals should be relevant to the direction you want your life and career to go. And in addition to that, it should be relevant to where God is calling you. You have to say, God, show me which direction. If God is pulling you to a ministry, if God is pulling you to a group of people, how can this goal impact and benefit your life in the plan that God has for you? If God is calling you, say, to be a part of a ministry, maybe setting a goal that is relevant to that so that you can then apply that to the calling God has for your life. And lastly is the T, and T stands for set time-bound goals. Your goal has to have a deadline. Make sure that you tell yourself, by this time, we've all heard in businesses, there has to be short-term goals, there has to be long-term goals. And throughout the year, don't just say by the end of the year this, by the end of the year that. Tell yourself, I want to have something by the end of the month. I want to have something in the next 3, 4, 5 months, by the end of this quarter. Set goals with dates so that, again, you can measure that progress and you can see yourself grow. You can see yourself expand. You can see yourself draw closer to God. You can see yourself actually begin to lose weight. Whatever the goals may be, make it something that you can see the progress, track the progress throughout the year. Hey, well, thanks so much for joining us for this week 1 January Devo. If you want to receive an email from us, we do send out weekly emails as well as newsletters that kind of track the progress, but those weekly emails will help you with some questions and some Bible references to kind of help expand the information from these Devos. So if you want to, go ahead and drop your email in that section that we have for the newsletter, and we will make sure that you get the email for the questions and the Bible verses so that you can continue the study and meditate on what God has for you this year. We're excited to hear from you, excited to hear what God is going to be doing through your life, through your relationship, your family. So stay tuned, and we will see you next week for week 2. God bless.